Hello, good evening, and thank you everyone for listening. This is Shalonda Gibbs, CEO and founder of Real Sisters Rising. I'm here tonight as your hostess on Entrepreneur on the Rise podcast network. And I have a special guest with me tonight. I love this woman, and I want you all to meet her because I want you all to love her too, and I don't mind sharing her. And it's funny because she know how I am. I'm like, I love her. But I want to tell you all about her really quick. I met her online, and then we met in person, and it was like, oh, my God, do anybody else hear you talk? Everybody needs to hear you talk. And I've been saying that ever since I met her. So I just wanted, when I got this platform, I said, I got to get her on it. Anything I have that I can bring her in front of my network, I'm going to do it because I really think everybody needs to hear her talk. And when she starts talking, and have you ever heard her talk and just get real passionate about what she's talking about, you know, you understand. So I want to introduce to you tonight my really good friend and my sister in spirit, Shalonda, Coach Treasure Williams. Hi.
Hey, my queen, Shalonda Gibbs. So glad to be here with you tonight. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
Excited,
awesome.
Finally.
We're doing it. It's been 2 years in the making, 3 years.
Yeah. But how many times we have to reschedule?
Right. But timing is perfect. God's timing is perfect. So we're right on time, right?
Yes, we are. And how's all the babies and the family doing?
Man, everybody's doing lovely. They're growing really fast, and, you know, everybody's growing in different ways, and so we're just extremely grateful to even have the babies as a part of my life because, believe it or not, they have definitely helped through a lot of these different seasons that we're probably going to talk about in a few minutes. So we'll talk more about them later.
I know. Tell me about it. I know the moments where you just want to be like, why? Then your child walks in the room smiling, mommy. Then
right.
All those other things you was just thinking about just go out the window like it never even happened. So
absolutely.
I understand. And, you know, the kids don't even know what they do. They don't know.
They don't.
They could be coming in and getting on your nerves, but just by them just getting on your nerves, you just look at them and just be like, what am I complaining about?
Right.
All these blessings right here. What am I complaining about?
Absolutely. God knew what he was doing. He sure does.
So, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. You're the founder of and executive director of Love Walk Outreach Incorporated. Also 6 books, now 7, right?
Soon to be 7.
Okay. Certified Motivational Life Coach, Inspirational Speaker. Like, you have so much going on under your belt. Like, tell us about yourself.
You know what? So I'm hearing you call out my resume really, and I was talking to one of our other dynamic speakers on the 24 Hours of Power, and we were just having a random conversation, and she was kind of asking me a lot of the stuff that I was doing, and then when I finished saying, you know, all the things that I had going on, she was like, whoa, like, does anybody know this stuff? And, of course, I thought about you when you asked me the same thing when we were in South Carolina. You're like, man, has anybody heard you yet? So I'm thinking maybe I'm just not telling enough, or maybe I'm not, you know, speaking enough or marketing enough. I don't know. But that resume, and that's the short part of it because I was talking to a coach one time, and she asked me about speaking, and I said, you know, well, I won a few awards for speaking, and she was like, you won awards? Like, and you don't put award-winning speaker on stuff? And I'm like, because it was, I honestly speaking, everything I do because I love to do it. So when it's time for me to write a bio or for me to write a resume or for me to write something, it almost feels like boasting. And so it's not that I don't want people to know. Of course I do, because I want them to get the message. But it's like when I begin to talk about myself, it's, I don't feel as humble anymore. I feel more like I'm boasting, but I'm learning that in order for people to really know who I am, to really understand Coach Treasure in her fullness, then they're going to have to know what I've done and where I'm going. Yeah. And so Shalonda Coach Treasure Williams, the reason why that Coach Treasure is in there is because I've had a long journey with, my own self-esteem and my own self-worth, and I've come through so many seasons of people doing exactly what you did, saying exactly what she said. People, friends of mine, saying, man, do you know how anointed you are? Do you know how powerful you are? You really don't know, do you? And I'm saying, what are you talking about? Like, I've had random people come up to me and be like, excuse me, can I tell you something? And I'm like, sure. They're like, you got this light, around you, or this glow. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but, and I try to always remain humble because of those different instances, and I never want to get to the point where, I believe that I'm bigger than what God is doing. And so Coach Treasure is a certified motivational life coach, and my area is self-esteem and self-worth, because there are so many women, so many young women at that, so many older women, CEOs, okay? We're talking about women in high places that have forgotten what their worth is. And so Coach Treasure is here to show you, jewel by jewel, treasure by treasure, that you are just as valuable as I am. And so that's who Coach Treasure is. She does coaching, she does motivational speaking, inspirational speaking. I have 6 books. One of them actually went international. Yay.
Yes,
so,
awesome.
Awesome. Yes. I was super excited. I'm looking on CreateSpace, and I'm like, that's a different currency right there. What is that?
Yes.
Yeah, and so it was in like the British, some British place, someplace, and I was like, man, God is just amazing. So, we're just doing some things, and yes, I'm an award-winning speaker. I won a few awards for speaking.
Wait. Say that again.
What?
I'm an award-winning speaker. Say it again.
I am an award-winning speaker.
That's right.
Yes, and it honestly, it is very, very humbling. So I know that God is taking me places and that He's doing things, and I really love what I do, to the point that all my cloudy days, people talk about your cloudy days and how sad you are and emotional, but my cloudy days are outweighed by being able to make an impact, really, and to be able to share a story or share something with somebody else who may not quite understand that, man, just because you're in this position right now, it does not mean that you are not going to come out of this thing like pure gold, because honestly, God don't make no junk or no trash. And for you to be staying in that state of mind thinking that you're nothing and that you'll never amount to anything, I need to give you a quick jolt right quick, because you got some good things coming. See, that's what pumps me. That's what keeps me moving.
Let's go to church.
Stop it.
When you start talking, you know how I get when you start talking. I'm ready to check out my church fan and start waving it.
Oh, gosh, I really love it, though. And, you mentioned Love Walk Outreach. Let me talk about that since you said introduce myself. But Love Walk Outreach was birthed out of that very desire. A lot of people who do know me know bits and pieces of the story that has been going on with me for the last few years, but not everybody knows that for the last 2 years or a little bit more, I've been living homeless. So I've been in a shelter, actually, me and my children, and we were officially homeless for about 2 years. And the circumstance leading up to that took everything that I had out of me, to the point where I just really, no matter how much motivating I tried to do, it just was not working. Like, I was literally to the point of breaking. And right after that, when I asked God to deliver me, I didn't know how He was going to deliver me. But He delivered me into the homelessness situation. And it may seem odd, but if I was at the point of death, homelessness was better. You understand what I'm saying? That means that I was separated away from that situation and I was placed into a different situation, and everything in my life began to change after that. And so what God began to do while I was in the shelters, I think I was at the Salvation Army for like 3 weeks, but upon me and my children leaving the Salvation Army, everybody was lined up in the hallways to see us off, crying and emotional as if they had known us for years. So, you know, he put me in that place, of course, to be who he called me to be, but he put me also there to teach me and show me how many homeless women were yet broken too. So not just homeless, but broken. And so while I was at the other shelter, the transitional shelter, he began to speak to me about Love Walk Outreach. No longer should it be Love Walk Motivation Services, because this is not any longer going to be for profit. It's going to be nonprofit, because now you have a mission and you have a cause, and you are about to take the world by storm with it, because there are a lot of broken women that are homeless. So when you fix the brokenness, Shalonda, when you help fix the brokenness, then you will change the dynamics of their lives forever. So Love Walk Outreach was birthed out of that. And so it is newly started, and so I'm super excited about where it's going to take us.
And where is it located in Georgia?
Well, right now it's in Savannah. I don't have a building yet, because that's actually the biggest part of what we're trying to do as far as raising money and seeking donors and partners and sponsors. What we are aiming to do is have an actual home, a house, that will hold at least 6 or 7 young women, whether they have children or not. Because a lot of the places down here, they cater to families, but nobody's here to take the young women. Nobody's here to take the single women and bring them in and say, okay, look, you have a safe place to be for a while. And so we are looking to actually get a house, an actual house, and place them there and take them through a program that's between 3 months to 2 years, maybe a little longer, just depending on their circumstance. So we're trying to actually do it big, do it real huge with them, and make a difference.
Well, they need it. You know, it is young ladies out here on their own, from different circumstances. You know, you can't judge nobody. Everybody's situation is different, and they do need the help. And if they get the help, that it will help them raise their kids better, or just them by themselves become better in their life, because they know there's somebody that was there to help them with whatever resources they need. And maybe they're looking at life a little bit different.
You know what I learned while I was at the Salvation Army, a part of what really began to tug at my heart is that a couple of the ladies that were there were young. They were like in their maybe about to be 20. One of them was like 22. One of them had a little girl. The other one didn't have any kids. But when they first met me, they just clung to me so hard. And I've noticed that over the years that people in that age group, from about 17 or 16 on up to like, you know, the mid-30s, maybe early 40s or whatever, that age group clings really hard. And so these girls, though, they were they just clung really hard to me. And it's not that they never had people that cared about them, but they didn't have people who could relate to them. And that's the difference. Most of the time, the reason why we cannot get ahead, or the reason why we cannot truly make a difference, is because we're taking our expertise. We're taking the fact that, oh, we have a doctorate degree in psychology. Wonderful. That's wonderful and that's great. But guess what? You don't understand how this young girl feels, because she's just been selling her body for money for the last 2 years just to make ends meet. And she doesn't want to talk to you because she feels more judged than she does understood. And so now have your PhD, but also talk to them about the stuff that you've experienced, if anything. And then you'll be able to make a new impact. But these girls, they're like, man, you know, they try to get us to talk to these case managers, and they try to get us to talk to this person and that person, but all they care about is just giving me a agenda. You know, you need to go here, you need to go there, you need to do this, and you need to do that. And nobody's taking the time to make sure that I'm okay. Nobody asked me if I was hurting. Nobody asked me what I went through before I got here. Nobody cared about the fact that, you know, I just went through an abusive relationship, and I'm 19 years old, but I've already been beaten by a man already. Nobody's concerned. Nobody's even, bothered to say, how can I really help you? They're just giving me a number and giving me a bed. Not to say that that's not wonderful and everything, but when are we going to do something that's going to make an impact, change the situation, so you won't see this same young girl in 6 months?
Yep, they need healing.
Yeah.
I
It's bigger.
Because I'm looking at some other stuff in your bio, being a single mother, being bullied, being homeless, and even being hopeless. But I can relate to being a single mother. I've never been bullied that I can remember. And I guess if I don't remember, I wasn't bullied. I know I was teased, but I fight back all the time, so I don't know how you would, categorize that. But I've been in a shelter. Before I lived where I live now, I was in a shelter for 11 months.
Right.
And
wow.
With my 2 kids, and running back and forth, going to work, taking them to daycare. I understand the whole process. And, I've built relationships with the other families in there. So I really do understand these situations. I was raised in a foster home. So I can relate to people. And I have no problem at all talking about any of my life situations because for whatever reason, they made me who I am today.
But not for whatever reason, but because it's all strategic, right? Everything has a purpose. Everything has a purpose, and that's what we talked about when we were in South Carolina, and that's the point that I was trying to make. When I stood up to say something, I really had something totally different to say when we were there, and but I sat there and I listened to everybody's story. And I listened to Terry Clay. She was there at the time, and she was telling her story about being a nurse and losing her jobs and stuff like that. And she was telling these stories, and it really, just kind of pricked at my heart because I still sensed a little bit of hurt from the fact that people cast her away so much. And then while other people were talking, and it was just all coming to me. And when I stood up, the only thing that I could think to say is, but all of that stuff that you've gone through, all that stuff that you've been through, everything that has been thrown at you, every situation, every circumstance, every bit of hurt that you ever dealt with, every bad relationship, all these things have had some kind of purpose, but it's about us finding out and finding it in all the trash and all the mess and all the stuff that we're dealing with. It's about finding the purpose in all of that.
You look at her now.
Yeah, she's doing it.
Grown. I be talking to people out of nowhere, like I'm connecting with on Facebook, and we're talking on the phone, and you don't know who knows who, right? So, like, yes, and Terry Clay, I don't know if you know Terry Clay, and Terry Clay this, and I was like, I just be sitting here like a proud sister, because I don't even say at the moment that I know Terry Clay. I'm not even going to say, well, I've been in the same room as Terry Clay. I'm just sitting there like, I'm so proud of her.
Yeah,
and I keep saying, I'm going to tell her that. But I just see she's amazing. She's doing some amazing things.
She is.
She needs to come over here to New York. And we got to get you to New York. And Tara Jackson, we got to get her to New York, too.
Yeah, right. It's going to happen.
Yeah, but that day, like you said, was all strategic. It was planned one way, and it ended up something totally different.
Being a meeting of the bosses.
If whoever was in that room, if you wasn't in the room, you missed something so crazy, so powerful. Carol saying, everybody, all of us that was there was supposed to be there. And the other crazy thing about that day, every last one of us who was in that room had a problem getting there. I don't care.
Man.
Some was on bus, some was on train, some was on cars, and some was in a plane. Everybody had a problem. So I don't care how you got there or was trying to get there. You walked around the corner, somebody had a problem getting there, but we kept pushing and we got there no matter what we got there. And
and God showed up and He did His thing. Yes, He did.
It happened the way it was supposed to happen.
Indeed.
Truly did. But I want to talk about this book that kind kind of stemmed from that meeting.
Yes, it did. And we're talking, 2 years ago, almost 2.5 years ago? So, yeah, of course, me and you have gone back further than that because we were Facebook friends first, and we talked about Real Sisters Rising a lot, and then we met face-to-face, and it was like, okay, here we go. But as I said before, I'm sitting here listening to all the everybody else speaking their piece, everybody else sharing their stories, and what came to my mind, of course, is the story about Joseph and his brothers in the Bible and how everything in Joseph's life, from him telling the dreams, to him being thrown in the pit, to him being put in slavery, to him being accused and thrown into prison, all this stuff seemed like the worst things in the world. I mean, these were some terrible situations. I mean, the Bible doesn't even talk about the good, really, a lot of good times. It talks mostly about these terrible situations that were caused by people he was closest to, people that he loved, and all this stemmed from their hatred or their jealousy, and he had this big old life of strife and issues and drama just to come to the point of being second in command or second in control over this entire country, over this entire place. And so we began to talk about that, and we talked about it, and I said to them, it is all strategic. Everything that was planned was strategic. How do I know that it's strategic? Because Joseph said to his brothers, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. He didn't say God made it good like we misquote sometimes. He said God meant it for good. And what that simply means is this. You acted out the way you acted out because I needed to get to the place that I was supposed to be. And had you not acted the way you acted, I would have never ended up where I was supposed to be in order to be able to feed you. So what you meant for bad, it was good. It always was good. Never was it a problem. It always was good. I just didn't know it at the time. So when I said this, and I said it's all strategic, and we got back to Kawan's house, and here goes Queen Shashina, being the person that she is with all her wonderful, great wisdom. And she says to me, that's your hook. That's who you are. That's your message. That's what you're supposed to share. Because, oh, my God, I think of you as like a quiet storm. Like, when you open your mouth, I don't think nobody expected that.
You had me in tears. Like, what? Where did that come from? Like, she had a hate party, like, where was it? And it was all day on me, like, wow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I talked about you, I was like, you got to do something with that.
Yeah, you gotta do something. It's all strategic. That's it. As soon as you said it out your mouth, I was like, oh my goodness. And so
at the house writing on the table, we were at the table, and you saw writing.
Yes, yes, I sure did. And at that time, of course, there was still more that God had for me. More He had for me to experience. Because when you say it's all strategic and everything in your life has a purpose, then guess what? Things in your life have to happen in order for you to recognize your purpose, right? And so He brought me to this present day after going through a lot more since I've been with you, for me to really be able to testify and say, oh, my God, is it all strategic? Everything truly has a purpose, and I've been able to sit and think on those things even more so over this last few years. And so the book, it's all strategic. Now, I got to tell you this, right? At first I thought, when I first started writing it, it was called It's All Strategic, Surrendering to the Process of Your Preparation. In other words, it was talking about, it's supposed to help people understand that everything in your life had a purpose, right? So I need you to be able to understand that it all had a purpose. So I need you to get your mind right. I need you to stop thinking that everything is crumbling around you. I need you to stop thinking that your whole world is falling apart, because guess what? Everything has a purpose. That was really the gist of the book. But over the last few weeks, God has stilled my hands in writing it and told me that that's not it. It's not finished. It's not complete. That's not the way I want you to give it. And so I'm like, okay, Lord, I thought I was on the right track. You are on the right track, but that's not it. So the title is changed.
Okay.
It still is all strategic, but the subtitle has changed. And I told Andrika, she's one of our other dynamic speakers on 24 Hours of Power.
Her. I just had a conversation with her.
She is awesome, man. Her spirit is wonderful. And so when I finished my talk Saturday, which was entitled Unmasking the Treasure in You, Revelations of Your True Self, I began, once I finished the talk, I get an inbox from her. And she's like, I need to change the title of your speech. I'm like, okay. And it said, From Trash to Treasure. I was like, whoa. And she says, and you need to start the story about the homelessness situation. And I was like, I do. Sometimes, most of the time I started talking about that because that's one of my points to power. But I said for this particular, platform, we were talking a lot to business women, and I was talking about how they needed to take off all these disguises and masks that they were wearing. And so when she put From Trash to Treasure, I was like, man, yeah, that's really what it is. And so God made it click just like that. It's all strategic, from trash to treasure. And then it made me think from pit to palace, because that's Joseph's story, right? From the pit to the palace. So from trash to treasure is my story, and so we're about to share it, but it's going to be on a whole nother level, man, bigger than what I thought it would be. And so I think this is God's baby.
Amazing.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Well, like you said, with the title of the book, it's so strategic, and you already got called Coach Treasure. You put it in, oh, my God, yes. I so love it.
You're excited. I'm excited, too.
So when will the book be available?
Oh, man, I honestly, it was supposed to be released in November, but right before the end of November is when God stopped me and was like, no. So I'm in the process of still writing it, and I don't want to release it sooner than what he says. So I know it will be at the beginning, in the beginning months of next year. I know that for sure, because he also spoke to me about actually making it a actual debut, like, having a book signing party, all the stuff that I've never done. He had me talking to one of my coworkers at the shelter where I work, because I work for a children's shelter. And so he had me talking to one of my coworkers there, and he's like, oh, man, I'm super excited. Let me get to talking to my people, right? So, God is working this thing out, man. I'm smiling so big right now because it's so much bigger, and it's beginning to be so much bigger than I've ever thought possible. And when I went to Phoenix at the beginning of the year, I went to Phoenix, Arizona for the Kingdom-Driven Entrepreneurs Conference. And Apostle Candace Ford, one of my mentors, she spoke over me while we were there, and she said, this baby will not die. And, of course, she wasn't talking about a physical baby because I wasn't pregnant, but she was talking about this thing that God was birthing in me. And it just so happened at the beginning of the year is when I incorporated Love Walk Outreach. And then when I started working on a plan, and this year is when he gave me the title and gave me the okay that it was time for the book to be released. So I'm just looking at God like, man, wherever you have me going, I just want to be totally and completely surrendered to you. I want everything to fall into place the way you see fit. I mean, nothing or nobody will be able to interfere. Even everybody has their place in my life, but I'm so open right now to God, Shashina, that if God says release this, I'm releasing it. If He says let this person go, I'm letting it go. If He says don't go through with this, I'm not going through with that, because I want to be so submitted and so wide open. God, I'm ready to do what it is that He's asking me to do, and nothing less and nothing more. So I'm super excited about where He's going with it.
I am super excited to find out where the release date is, because we got to get you back on the show so you can talk about it some more.
Definitely so.
So, wow, you got so much going on. Like,
one of the other things that I have going on, because I might as well go ahead and just spill it, right? So There is a lot. Okay, so we are just right now, we're both a part of like this great movement, right? And I was, just talking to Stevie, I was kind of texting her back and forth, and I was like, man, this is such an awesome event, because there's 24 hours of power. We're talking like 46 speakers, 31 days of December, and everybody's just doing it big. So out of this event alone, I've booked another 2 events. And I'm doing one with Renee Sunday. I don't know if you know her, but she's super great. And she has, not only does she have a radio show, but she also does a live taping in Atlanta too. So we're kind of working on both of those. I've been, booked to, I'm actually going to interview on a live show the 30th of this month, I believe. And Marilyn Porter, she's another one of our dynamic speakers, and she's having an event coming up, and so I'm going to be working with her and speaking on her platform. And, I got another email to check in my box because somebody else is having an event, and they have a lot of speakers on their platform, and I've been giving instructions to try to see if I'm going to do that. I just submitted another piece for a collaborative book that's going to be about, telling your story, sharing your pains and things like that. So I just submitted that. What else? Oh, surrender to the process of your preparation. That is a 6-week e-course for women. So
okay.
I started that.
Just looking at it.
Right. I started that. I'm still in the process of the first class right now. So we're going to have our last class on Wednesday. And so the registration for the next class is already underway. That is, it starts February 4th, but we're doing like an early bird thing right now. Okay. And so surrender to the process of your preparation. Of course, it was birthed out of, the first title that I had, it's all strategic, surrendering to the process. And what God was speaking to me is there's a lot of people going to next levels. You're not the only one. He's pretty much saying to me, well, the next level is coming. What is it that you expect in this next level? Are you truly ready to surrender to this next level? Are you sure about where you're going, and are you sure about what you need in order to get there? Surrendering to the process is simply about knowing the things that you need to surrender to. In other words, surrender to the process of submission. That's a big deal. Right now, a lot of us don't want to do it. We don't want to do it in business. We don't want to do it in ministry. We don't want to do it in marriage. We don't want to surrender. And so,
Hello?
Therefore, yes.
Go ahead.
Therefore, surrendering to that process is a really big deal. I have one lesson in that in my class called Surrendering to the Art of Shut Up. Surrendering to the art of shut up. And a lot of us don't have that gift. We don't know how to keep our mouth shut. We don't know how to stop talking all the time. We don't know how to stop telling our visions and our dreams to everybody. So we need some practice in surrendering to that process. So this is about people who are going to their next level. And it's simply put, if you need to be prepared to go to your next level, then you need to take this course, period. So this course, we're definitely having an early bird special, which is very, very, very important to people I know. So if you were to go to surrender to the process, the number 2.eventbrite.com, then you'll be able to see what the early bird special is, how you can register, because I'm telling you, you don't want to miss this. If you are about to go to the next level, whether it be in your ministry, whether it be in a marriage, whether you're going to the next level on your job, you're getting a promotion, whether you are taking your business to another level, whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to want to take this course as a woman, because you need to learn how to release yourself and let go and let God lead you. And so you must be surrendered to him in order to be able to do that. So it's extremely exciting, and the women that are a part of it now, the course that I'm having now, they're even thinking about signing up again so that they can go through it again. So I'm excited about it.
I know you are. Can you say the website again, so just in case people wasn't able to catch it? Right,
surrender to the process. Because this is the second one, of course. So surrender to the process, the number 2, .eventbrite.com. So that's where you go. I'm telling you, you're going to want to do it. As a matter of fact, one of the options is for you to register with an autographed copy of the book. So you have 2 options. You can register just to have the ebook, the course ebook, or you can register to get an autographed copy of the book, and you'll receive the course ebook too, but you're going to receive an autographed copy of It's All Strategic when it's released.
That's amazing. I'm saying if you're going to do it, y'all hurry up. You don't want to miss out. Because who says she's going to have number 3? You don't know that. So get on number 2 because you missed number 1.
Absolutely.
What else is going on with Miss Strategic over there in Georgia? Because I know you always have something going on.
Well,
even though you're working on one thing, you have something that I see flyers going up everywhere. You're everywhere. You're doing your thing, and I'm just so proud of you.
I know, man, because let me tell you, when I first did this, because I had a momentum going a few years ago, right, before I got in the situation that I was in. I guess I could tell a little bit about that. I'm going to tell y'all, yes, I'm a single parent, but not only am I a single parent, but I'm a single parent of 5 kids. So, we're talking about, a part of my struggle was getting pregnant, right? So I was always falling prey, and I'm not going to blame it on the men all the time, but I was always just falling prey to these situations. And me and my mom was talking today, and I come to realize that because I am a nurturer by nature, because I have such a big heart and I want to help everybody, it seems to me that a lot of the men and a lot of the situations that I've drawn to myself have been about nurturing and re-raising a man, and that's not something that I wanted to do any longer. But that's what I have been doing all my life. And so with that being said, I put myself in a situation. Now, my momentum was great, man. The momentum was wonderful. I was on prayer calls all the time. I mean, I was talking with Lucinda. As a matter of fact, me and Lucinda Cross, she had a prayer call for moms, and I was on that once for an interview about the book Let's Go. And that interview turned into me coming on the prayer line to talk all the time, even to the point where she asked me at one time to take the prayer call over for a while. And so I was doing that for a minute. I mean, the momentum was great, but I fell in love. And I fell in love with somebody that I should not have fallen in love with, and my whole world spiraled down. And I ended up in a place of depression once again, which I've experienced that a lot of times in my life. And I ended up in another position of being depressed once again, but this was like one of the worst times that I've ever had in my life, because even though it was bad for me, I still wanted it. And how many times do we do that? How many times do we sell ourselves short? We settle for less. We want to re-raise these men. We want to, be...
Why work?
Right.
We make up our own reasons.
Yes, we do. Oh, my goodness. Please tell it. Well, I mean, we rationalize everything out. But you know what? Maybe God placed me in his life because he's supposed to change, and I'm supposed to be the one to help him change. And whoa. How many times do we set ourselves up? Yes. For the,
how you going to do X, Y, and Z?
Right.
Before we came into his life.
Yes. Like, we put ourselves in the place of the Savior, and we're not the Savior. We're just, we're instrument, and we may be instrumental in their lives, but we are not their Savior. And so I put myself in that place to where I tried to be all, and I had 4 kids already, and I didn't need to try to be all to him. I needed to focus my attention on the kids. I needed to focus my attention on myself. I forgot that I was a treasure, because for the first year, we were great. I mean, that's the greatest bond I ever had in a relationship. But then by a year and a half,
when we first
I forgot.
In South Carolina,
yeah,
that was the first year?
When we first met in South Carolina, I was with him at the time. It was in the middle of that year. We had not we met a while before. I was going. It was great.
It was the lowest.
I'm telling you, it was like, you know, it was the most wonderful feeling I had ever had in my life. I mean, we were super close. Our bond was tight. He would have been the type of man I wanted to marry. But the reality is that I set myself up because I knew his story when I met him. You know, and even though it was a bunch of excuses within that story, I still knew the story. As a matter of fact, and, you know, of course, I'm very transparent. So he was married. They were separated, but he was married. She lived in a whole other state, and she was done with him, and he was done with her. But when you are spiritual, when you love God and you truly do love him, then you're going to want to follow his principles and his principles only. So the reality was, separated or not, he was still somebody else's husband. And so I put myself in a position with him of loving him and loving him so much to where I rationalized, and I said it, you know, but they're really not, you know, compatible. And, you know, he made a mistake. He should have never married her in the first place because she wasn't really his wife. I really am. And, you know, it was just a whole bunch of whatever, just telling myself all kind of things. And then I got to a point of praying finally, because at first I guess I didn't pray about it because I really didn't want to know the answer. But I finally got to a point where I was actually praying, and I asked God to show me and show me the situation for what it is, because I really I want to get back on track. You know, I want to continue to walk in your way, and I feel like I'm so wrong, which I was. And so what ended up happening is my mom, she had such a small house, so I could no longer stay with her because I remember I was just moving back to Savannah from Warner Robins. And so I didn't have a place of my own, and I was staying there with her, and she could not house us anymore because I had the 4 kids. Her house was small. She was over 60, you know, so she really wasn't tolerant of the noise and stuff anymore. So we had to leave, and when we left, we went to his niece's house. And so at his niece's house, oh, my God, Shashina, I mean, I had never, as much love as we had in that year is just as much disrespect as I had in the next 6 months. And it was so crazy that it was almost like a shell shock. It was like, what in the world? Like, how do we go from being the closest ever? I mean, literally, magical stuff would happen on our dates. Like, you'd be like, oh, my goodness, like, does stuff like this really happen? And so it was perfect. And then all of a sudden we went from that to total disrespect. Right. And now I'm pregnant. Oh, my gosh. I remember one time sitting in the middle of the floor, and it was almost like I was having an out-of-body experience because I didn't have a bed at the time, so I'm sitting in the middle of the floor, and I am depressed. Like, I'm so down. I feel like I'm just losing it, like I'm just losing myself. And as before I sat in the middle of the floor, I was in the tub, and I heard a knock on the door, and I heard a voice, and the person at the door was for him. I'm pregnant. I'm here. I pay bills here. You don't pay bills here, but I do. And it's another woman knocking on the door for you. So I was in this place of, what do I do now? Now, how stupid is that? What do I do now? What you mean, what do you do now, Shalonda? You remember that you're a queen. You remember that you're a treasure. And you remember that you don't take this from nobody. And you get up and you leave. That's what you do. But at the time, we don't think about that stuff. We can only think about the emotions that we feel. We're only thinking about them. And we have totally forgotten that we are worthy of more. And that's the place that I was in. And so when I sat in that floor, and it was like I came out of my body, and I was looking down at myself. Like, I literally saw a clear picture of what I looked like, and there were no mirrors around. And I was talking to me, and I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Who are you? What is wrong with you? Do you not know who you are? I had stopped praying. I had stopped talking to God, and myself was reminding me of the power that I had within myself, and I needed to get up. I needed to raise up. I needed to open my mouth. And I will tell you, literally, Shashina, the only thing that I had strength enough to say was, Lord, please deliver me. That was it. I had no strength. I had no nothing left. I was just done. And all I could say was, Lord, deliver me. And I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried, because this was like the biggest, the greatest hurt that I've ever felt, ever. It was the greatest hurt. And at the same time, I wanted to somehow salvage it. I wanted to do something to make myself better so that he would not do the things that he was doing. All the stuff that we do as women to down ourselves, degrade ourselves, and make ourselves feel like we're not, I must not be enough. I must not be enough. If he's doing this, I must not be enough. Okay, what do I have to do to make it better? Are you serious?
Always blaming ourselves.
We do. We blame ourselves because we are not quite aware of the fact that we're worthy with or without him. He doesn't determine your worth. The only thing about that is that he wasn't mine to begin with, so because he wasn't mine to begin with, of course I wasn't enough, because I wasn't supposed to be with him. I'm enough for who I'm enough for. I don't have to be enough for everybody. I don't have to be made for everybody. I don't have to be perfect for everybody. I only have to be enough for the one that God ordained for me. And I'm worth more than dealing with somebody who got a bunch of females knocking on the door where I pay bills. It was too much. And so God delivered me, and he delivered me to the shelter, and I will tell that to the day I die, because somebody else will say, girl, homelessness ain't deliverance. It was deliverance for me, because he couldn't come to the shelter where I was. You understand what I'm saying? He couldn't get to me. And when I went to the transitional center, they had a rule that nobody could visit you upstairs in your apartment. So guess what? He couldn't come to me. He couldn't come and apologize. He couldn't come and beg. He couldn't come and plead. Because when you left me to go to another female's house because she got her income tax check.
Wow.
Okay? So, I mean, come on.
Did that in New York.
Huh?
I thought they only did that in New York.
No, ma'am. You know, so you had to, huh?
That's a national situation.
It's a national situation, honey, to where I'm dealing with the man. Listen, first of all, you showed me a few things. You showed me, number one, you are not capable nor prepared to be my covering because you're leaving me for money, which means that you don't have any.
You know what?
You don't have any. You're not providing. You're not doing anything for me. I'm here. I'm paying bills where I live. We're struggling sometimes to pay bills. And you're laying here, but you're doing nothing. So you showed me that you're not fit to be my king. You're not fit to be my covering. And so many women, we miss it. Okay? We do everything. We will pay the bills. We will do everything, and we will leave them sitting in front of the TV playing their video games just because we want somebody to be there. And that is not what God ordained for us. And so it's time for all of us to rise up and find the true treasure in ourselves, because until we do that, we're going to continue to settle for whatever. And we're never going to get to the point where we truly, truly, truly have what God wants, because we're not ready. We're not ready because we don't know that we're worth it.
Wow. I'm so very glad that you know that you're worth it, that you got out that situation. Because the last thing I would want to hear is something happens to you that just turns you away from what your passion is.
Right. And that happens so often. Yeah,
it happens, and I see these women out here all the time, and it's hard. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know too much about other states, but in New York, I feel bad a lot because I see a lot of women who go through that. I've been in those situations because I'm always wanting to help somebody and do this and do that. So I want to talk to them and let them know, I may not be that old, but I've been through some things. I mean, let's get out this situation. But they have to sometimes fall hard to hear not just somebody else tell them to get out of it, to hear themselves tell them to get out of it,
Well, that's what it is most of the time. Yeah. Most of the time we have to really hit the bottom. That a person that we do. People
go through that.
People try to give us wisdom talk all the time. That's what we do as speakers. That's what we do as coaches. We try to give wisdom nuggets all the time. But the reality is, until a person is truly ready, no matter how much wisdom you give out, most of the time they won't even be able to take it. So a lot of times we experience things because we need to learn. And that's what happened to me. So, I mean, I had a great momentum. I allowed this to happen. As a matter of fact, people were looking for me. I was getting Facebook messages all the time like, man, it seemed like you fell off the map. What's going on? Where are you? What's happening? You know, 1 minute you're doing interviews here, you're doing this here, you're writing this book, you got this together, you're on this prayer call, and then all of a sudden, no more. Where are you, Coach Treasure? What's going on? And so when I came back, when I began to do these things all over again, I came back with a new determination that I have to be the story. I can't just tell the story and fall off the map. I have to push. I have to keep pushing through, and nothing can stop me from being the treasure that I am no more ever. And that may be hard sometimes. Because I'm not going to lie and say I'm never going to go through anything ever again. That would be pointless to even say. But what I do realize and what I do know and what I do understand is this. If I have determined within myself that greater is He that is within me than he that's in the world, then I have to always remind myself that greater is He that's within me than he that's in the world. It can't be a one-time thing. I have to always know it. I have to always know that I'm important to God. And because I'm important to God, He wants what's best for me. Because I'm a treasure to Him, He wants only treasures for me. So I don't have to settle for anything anymore. I don't have to just sit back and allow whatever is going on. I have to stand up and own it, that I'm worthy, so you need to step up your game. And don't bring me no slacking.
That's right. Own your greatness. You was born with greatness.
Yeah.
Yes,
so I'm glad to be back. I'm glad that God is moving me, and probably towards the beginning of next year, I'll be preaching my trial sermon as well. So, gosh, we're going into ministry full time. We're doing a whole lot of stuff full time. So God is doing it, and I'm grateful to be along for the ride.
As long as you're obedient, you'll hear Him.
Amen.
People do not listen. They do not listen. They hear it, but you don't listen.
Right.
You know, it's like your parents talking to you. You hear them, but you're still sitting your butt right there when others told you to get up and do the dishes. You know, still sitting right there. That's what we all do. We don't listen to the messages. We don't pay attention to the hints. Matter of fact, sometimes it's not a hint. It's a big old red sign saying stop, and you still continue to go. So,
wow.
Unfortunately, we have to go through what we go through because we don't pay attention. Just like you said with that man, when he told you his story and you knew you hear all the excuses, that was your time right there to be like, okay, this is not for me. But there were some other things that said, well,
I'm gonna tell you this, and this is what I told. I had a conference about 2 weeks ago. It was called Surrender My All. It was a women's conference, and I was sharing with them. My topic for them was surrender the lie. Okay, and I shared that story, part of that story, because that's a big part of my testimony, is that I was delivered from that situation. But one of the things that I told them, and this is the truth, when the enemy is trying to destroy your purpose, to steal, kill, and destroy, right? So when the enemy is trying to destroy your purpose and he wants to send you deception, he's not going to send you nothing shabby. He's going to send you exactly what you want, exactly what you've been looking for. But there's going to be some bits and pieces of things in there that should not be there. And if you're not ready, if you're not truly concrete, then you're going to miss it or you're going to ignore it. And when you begin to, and that's what happened with me, of course, I ignored it. I rationalized it out because he was half Puerto Rican and black, and he had this beautiful hair, and he was gorgeous, and we was clicking, right? So it was great. I mean, you know, and when he held me, he swayed me, you know, and it was wonderful. So he didn't give me anything shabby. He gave me exactly what I wanted. He gave me somebody that was attentive. He gave me somebody who would cook for me. He gave me somebody who, you know, who made sure that I felt special all the time, okay? He gave me somebody who did not demand sex of me right away. And that's a big part of the thing. That's a big part of my testimony because that had always been my struggle. So he gave me a man who did everything right. And he also made it difficult for me to be able to truly heal and move forward. And that's one thing I want to share, too, before we get ready to go, is that when he sends a distraction, he will be everything or she will be everything that you want for the most part. He will have all the qualities. She will have all the qualities. And it will be difficult to get past it. Because now when God is bringing different things in your life, or when he's trying to bring you a better situation, the devil done made that so wonderful that now you're comparing everything. So that's why we have to be careful what we allow ourselves to get into. And yes, I said allow. It was a mistake on my part. It was me allowing a situation, and I had to deal with the consequences of that situation. And so a part of those consequences is it ain't just going to get out your system all that easy. So don't jump into the situation in the first place. Please watch out for distractions. If you're on track and you want to live for God and you want God to show you what your purpose is, allow him to do that, but don't deceive yourself. Surrender the lie. Surrender the lie.
That's right. Surrender. Don't be distracted. It's not always the man's fault. You know,
it's not.
They're showing you who they are. And sometimes it's not even about a man. It could be a situation.
Any situation.
It could be your family, the people in your life. You know, you might
right.
Why shouldn't I be around my mother? Or why shouldn't I be around my sister? You know, you got to pay attention to signs. Sometimes it's not meant for you to be around these people in this environment. You have to pay attention. The signs are there. And
wow.
So continually allowing these people to be in your circle and in your environment, or you're in their environment, but you won't remove yourself, and you're constantly the person. Your life is nothing going on, but you got these great ideas, and you just don't understand why it's not going nowhere. You might think it's because you don't got no money. Like, I have $5 more or $500 more. Somebody just believes me. It might not even be all about that. Once you remove yourself from these situations and you put yourself where you're supposed to be, or on the path of where you're supposed to be, everything will start falling into place.
Wow.
What's the title of your book?
It's all strategic.
That's what I'm talking about right here.
Yes,
so
yes.
We have to pay attention to the signs and everything, because everything that we need, we already possess. We already have it. What you have to do is believe in yourself and take time and evaluate who you are. When I was pregnant with my youngest daughter, she's now 13, when I was pregnant with Diamond, her father got arrested. I was 7 months pregnant. I was like, what in the heck I'm going to do with 2 kids?
Right.
I didn't have a business, but yet I had all these skills, all these different, I would say, hobbies, side hustles I would do. So I'm like, okay, I know how to do hair. I managed the hair salon. I did this. I did that. I did X, Y, and Z. I know how to do these things, but I don't know how to run a business. So I was like, what am I going to do with 2 kids? Somebody might try to take my kids away from me because I don't know how to take care of 2 kids. But when I got with that man, the things that showed up was already there. They didn't show up. I just, over my eyes, why did I put myself in this situation? Why did I allow myself to get in this situation when I already knew? He didn't hide. He didn't bring his representatives. He brought himself. You know, I allowed his lifestyle to intervene with my lifestyle. But, you know, we have our moment, that time when we hit our head and we wake up.
We live and we learn.
Fortunately, it didn't take me to hit rock bottom for me to get up out of it.
For you to get it, right.
You know,
I
did learn quick. But
that's a plus, check.
Right. But what happened, though, by him being locked up and me going through, I can't do this by myself, I can't do this. Once she was born, my girl was already doing my little side hustles and stuff, right? But once she was born, I took out time in the house to raise my baby. I still had Destiny. She was going to school, and I had a computer sitting there. It's like, okay, I know how to work a computer, but I don't want to just sit here and type and stuff, like playing on a computer. What I'm going to do? The computer came with all these graphic programs, these Photoshops and all this stuff, and I started playing with it. The computer, I learned how to do greeting cards. I started a greeting card company. I learned how to do flyers and business cards and photo manipulation. I started learning all this stuff, right? So I'm showing people I know how to do this. And they was like, oh, I want that. How much? I said, $5. How much is that? $10. They realized, okay, I'm something going on here, you know. I was working at the hair salon, and I'm showing myself, and people like, I'm going to give you $20 so you could do that with my name on it. And I want this with my name on it. I want to bring my mother's picture so you could. I was making my money.
Awesome.
Okay. I don't want to work in a hair salon no more. I don't even have no creativity no more to braid anybody's hair. So I started running the shop so I could sit in the back and work on the computer and do my greeting cards and my photos and everything. So then I got me an apartment. I had to go through the shelter for 11 months. I got my apartment and I started researching. So when I was doing the research and sharing advice of all the stuff that I was doing with other women, I realized the way I was going with this stuff. I started a Yahoo group. The Yahoo group was my research of how to start a business with what I was doing, all the different things I was doing. And from the Yahoo group, I had a website. Then I started becoming a professional and starting a business. I was like, wait a minute, and that's what I didn't know what the heck a business was.
Right.
And here I am today, 11 years later, that I help so many women with advice, all kinds of meetings, just networking and speaking and writing books. Who knew? Yep. I know you didn't know that one day you was going to have 6 books under your name.
Right.
As a little girl, you're like, nobody's going to call me Coach Treasure.
Right.
When we little kids, we say, I want to be a doctor, fashion designer.
I want to be a teacher.
Teacher.
Yeah.
Nobody said, I want to be a business coach. I want to be a speaker.
Right.
You know, we don't know because we didn't know about those things.
But every last one of those
logos. You know, we didn't know. So we actually, if you really look back on your life, you probably was like, he was already preparing me from when I was pushed out on what I was going to do. So because
you might as well go ahead and preach my book then. Preach my book. Just go on and preach it.
When I really go into my story, I told you, I was a little girl. I had 5 sisters that we had more, but that we actually was like raised together tightly. And I used to, I'm the oldest in my generation. So I used to boss everybody around. And I'm like, y'all going to play house with me. We're going to play house. And then I don't want to play house. I'm like, while we play house, we're going to play school. They're like, we don't want to do that. We want to play house. No, you need to learn. So I used to force everybody to sit down, and I'm like, we're going to start a business, and y'all got to learn how to do this. And mind you, I'm like under 12 years old telling them how to do it. Right. What I was doing.
Already running things.
Right. So I'm telling them, we're going to start a business, and the name of the business is going to be Sisters Incorporated. And then you want to have your own business under Sisters Incorporated. All 5 of us going to have a different business doing what we like to do. What you like to do? My sister said, I like to eat candy. I said, all right, you're going to buy candy and you're going to sell the candy. So this is little kids talking.
Wow.
As we grew up, you know, everybody's doing different things. One day I was sitting down with LaToya Parker. I know many of you are familiar with her, but I was sitting down with her on the phone, and we do these things that sometimes we get on the phone, and we're on the phone sometimes 24 hours brainstorming about real sisters rising about her business. And we're on the phone, and I'm saying to her, out of nowhere, I said, guess what? I said, this was planned. She said, what are you talking about? I said, Real Sisters Rising. Of many women that I consider my sisters with their own business.
Yeah,
when I was
younger,
Sisters, even though it was Sisters Incorporated, it was my sisters with their own business under this one title. I said it was already planned.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome testimony. I mean, it may not seem like much to you, but that is definitely the gist of what is all strategic is about. Even the stories that you were telling about, you know, your baby's father and all the stuff that I told, that's really what it is. You know, even those situations that look bleak and those situations that look pointless, like, oh, I went to school for this degree and I don't even use it. Well, you never know what God is going to do to allow you to use that gift. There's nothing that's wasted. I think T.D. Jakes has a sermon called that, Nothing is Wasted. And that's because everything that we've ever experienced. I mean, I don't care what it is, whether it was you stumping your toe. When you stumped your toe, you learned how to be cautious. There's a lesson in everything. When you know what I'm saying, when you bit your tongue while you were chewing, you learned how to chew differently so that you wouldn't bite your tongue. You know, I mean, it's just certain things we take for granted, we don't think about, but there is a purpose behind any and every situation. And so that's what God is trying to teach us, and that's what he's trying to show us. But see, the thing about it is, when we learn that, right? When we learn that everything is strategic, when we learn that everything in our life has a place, a purpose, or whatever, then we can live life a lot easier. We can live through these circumstances a lot easier because we understand, okay, this is a trial. This is a circumstance. This is a situation. I'm under attack. Spiritually, things are happening. It seems like everywhere I turn, something is going down. It just feels like everything is so heavy on me. But when you begin to think, you know what? Hey, it's all strategic. Lord, okay, what am I supposed to get from this situation? Okay, God, what am I supposed to do next? Okay, let me ask you for your guidance, because before I didn't ask you, so I stumbled and I fell. Now I must ask. Everything, Shashina, everything has its place and its purpose. And if we can learn that, if we can understand that, then life will be a whole lot different, and we can enjoy that life of abundance that we were promised.
That's right. Well,
so yeah, I'm extremely excited. I'm extremely excited.
Women. I'm not going to say women, because men go through these things too, whether they with another man or a woman or their mom or whatever, they go through it too, So I'm just saying, we need more people like us to start speaking up and sharing our stories.
Absolutely.
People say it's too many coaches, there's too many speakers, everybody want to be the same. You know what? Everybody needs to be it, because there's too many people going through it. And there's too many people that went through it. So if we put it all together, maybe some things will stop.
Because everybody, first of all of us have a different approach. We talk about that too. It's too many of this, too many of that. And one thing that Stevie posted on one of the pages, and I could resonate with that so much, is that I don't have competitors. It's not about competition. It's about collaboration. And so here it is. We have 46 speakers, right, during this 24 hours of power. And we're all different. Every last one of us. And when everybody's speaking, we're getting all these great nuggets. And we're speakers, we're coaches, we're empowerment people, and we're learning from other empowerment agents. We're learning from other coaches. We're getting something different because everybody has a different approach. There's something that you can say, Shashina, that I may not be able to deliver the way you do, because somebody understands you better than they understand me. Huh?
We've had this conversation before.
Yeah, damn.
I remember that table in this conversation.
Yeah. But that's it. Now, we are all different. Yeah, it's a lot of coaches, it's a lot of speakers, it's a lot of this and a lot of that. But how about you find the one that resonates with you the most and listen to them. Allow them to be your coach. Stop looking at what's not and what is and who need to do this and how they need to do that better, or they don't need to do this anymore because it's too many of this, it's too many of that. How about you focus on what you need and tap into the power instead of hating on the power?
Exactly. I mean, it's like this. If there's too many coaches, there's a reason behind it being so many coaches. It's because there's a need for these coaches. First, you got to look at it. People don't understand. Just because somebody said they're a coach don't mean they're the same coach as the coach down the block you just met.
Absolutely.
Every football coach is not the same.
Very true.
So no matter what it is that you do what you do.
Right.
Just do what you do so that the person who hears you will have the opportunity to hear you.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to do what I do, because the same person that heard me may not hear Shalonda.
Right.
And vice versa. Everybody, like you said, they deliver a message differently. Not only do we deliver a message differently, everybody hears differently.
Mm.
Some people might not be audio. They might hear you, but they're not grabbing, they don't get the concept because of what you said.
Right.
But if you show them a video and explain it to them through video, they're like, I got it.
Mhm.
Or they have to write it down, read it over, then they get it. So depending on how you deliver your message, people need to hear, because the world, look at what's going on in the world today. Too many people going through something. They need to hear more. Ayana, I say her name wrong.
Y'all love him that. Yeah.
Right. They need to hear her. She's on TV. Everybody gets to hear her if you tune in. Oprah, Beyonce, even she be dropping some jewels, outside of the music. But she say some things. These are people that other people are role models to. But then you have us. We are more intact with our community, and we're able to talk. So if you're listening on this call tonight, we're about to end this call. I think we really went over time, but that's what happens when you're on the phone or in the presence of Coach Treasure. So if you ever had this experience, you understand what I'm talking about. But
man.
We need to start talking, even if it's just one-on-one conversations. Ask somebody to sit at Starbucks with you and have a conversation, so that way you can build that relationship where they will begin to listen to you. So maybe your story, your testimony will get them out of their situation. I live where I live at. I live in an apartment building, and I'm on the 3rd floor. I can hear, if I sit in my bedroom, no noise in this house. I can hear at least 3 families in my environment where there's domestic violence, physical domestic violence situations going on. And I have spoken to each woman individually, privately, and asked them.
My goodness.
I told them, I said, if something happens, if I hear this again, do you want me to call the police? Everybody says no. So I told them, if the police come to the door, and I'm going to tell you about calling the cops or not, because I don't want to hear the next day the ambulance coming, the morgue coming to take you away.
Yeah.
So, but I do want you to know that I care, and I'm aware of what's going on.
Absolutely.
Because it's too much. So we have to build these relationships. Even if you see somebody, they're going through something, just say hi. Start building relationships so they could get comfortable enough with you to hear your story, so that way it don't seem like you're beating them down, because you tell them what you're going through.
Right.
And I just want to thank Coach Treasure for coming on, and we having this moment of church going on over here. You got me preaching on the phone here.
Yes, it is. I'm telling you, you preaching that thing.
No, I'm not.
You preaching that thing.
This much. You bringing it out of me. This is what you do. I'm telling you.
Oh man, I'm excited that you allowed me to be on the call. I just want to close. I'm going to end my part. I'm going to let you end the call, but I'm going to just say this. People, of course, they can follow me. I would love for you to follow me, Facebook.com/Coach Treasure. I would also love for you to take a part in being a partner, being a sponsor, collaborate with us with Love Walk Outreach. And you can do that at lovewalkoutreach.org or find Love Walk Outreach on Facebook. Just keep up with us, because honestly, this is a movement. And a lot of what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing conferences. We're going to be doing workshops, and we're going to be raising money during things like that as well. So if you want us to come to your city, your state, some empowerment, you want us to bring a few books or whatever, make sure you find Coach Treasure online and let her know. Again, I want you to have the link to the Surrender to the Process e-course for women. It's 6 weeks e-course, and that is at surrendertotheprocess2.eventbrite.com. And I definitely want you to get in tune with that. And the other thing that I wanted to offer, when we did the call on Saturday, I presented this because this is extremely vital. Business women, it doesn't matter whether you're a mother, whether you're a janitor, whether you are working at McDonald's, it doesn't matter. We all have these things that are hidden, and we are all wearing masks sometimes. We have those things, the hurt, the pain, the drama, the issues, the stuff that we don't deal with. And we don't understand that that's keeping us from actually living our lives to its fullest potential. And so I have a session that I do, and it's called the Unmasking Session. Now, this session is normally going to be $115, but I want to offer it over this holiday season from now up until February. I want to offer it at half that price. So if you are wanting to release, if you're just ready to get it all off your chest, if you're ready to get it all out, crying and tears and slob and all that, if that's what you choose to do. But if you're ready to go to the next level of your life and leave all that trash behind, then make sure you contact me for your unmasking session. Thank you again, Shashina, for having me on.
You are welcome. I just need you to say the website one more time.
Okay, surrender to the process. The number 2.eventbrite.com. Please go there, sign up for your early bird, or just register, because you're just going to want to be a part of it. I'm telling you, it's going to be dynamic.
And you don't want to miss it. Like I said, you don't know if she's going to have number 3 or not.
And listen, let me tell you, the one thing I do want to, because we have how many more days left in the 24 hours of power? I think we have like 12 more days, maybe, a little bit longer. But listen, if you have not already registered, okay, at Stevie.com, that's STEVII.com. If you have not already registered, it's free. Registration is free. You're going to want to do it. I mean, this has been an extremely powerful time. These sessions have been dynamic. And if you're not registered yet, then you're going to want to get registered at STEVII.com, Stevie.com. Please register. It's awesome.
Yes, and it's like the momentum online, hashtag 24 hours of power, is high.
Yes, it is.
You have everybody tweeting, Instagram, Facebook, and Google+, Pinterest, everywhere you go, and you put that hashtag in, you could just Google that hashtag 24 hours of power, and you'll see all the stuff that comes up. It's amazing.
Yeah, man, it is.
And look, it's 45 speakers, 45 coaches, all women. Nobody's competing. Within our private group behind the scenes, everybody's connecting and building and sharing. It's amazing. I have not really seen too much of this, especially on these Facebook groups, because you know how they are. But this group is amazing. And what's to come from Stevie, the it factor, oh my God. She's creating so much behind the scenes that I'm just saying, I am surrounded by some powerful women. And men.
Ain't it a blessing? Such a blessing.
And for those of you who don't know about them, that's in my network, give me a minute. You're going to know about every last one of them. So I just want to say thank you for listening tonight. And this is another episode of Entrepreneur on the Rise Podcast Network from Real Sisters Rising Women Business Association. My name is Shashina Gibbs. Please visit our website to listen to more of the podcast, that's upcoming shows, and our past shows at realsistersrising.com/podcast. You could catch us on Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, and all of our social media networks. You know where we at. It's Google, Real Sisters Rising, and have a great evening.
Good night.
Good night.